Welcome to CFP Exam Prep. Today we're diving deep into a critical retirement concept that often appears on the CFP exam, the 50/40 test for defined benefit plans. Many candidates stumble on this topic, so let's break it down and master it together. The 50/40 test is a fundamental rule that determines the minimum coverage requirements for defined benefit plans. Here's the core principle. A defined benefit plan must cover the lesser of either 50 employees or 40% of all employees. This requirement ensures that pension plans don't discriminate unfairly against rank-and-file workers. Let's work through some practical examples to solidify this concept. Imagine a company with 200 employees. The 40% threshold would be 80 employees, while the 50-employee threshold is obviously 50. Since 50 is less than 80, the plan must cover at least 50 employees. Now consider a smaller company with 100 employees. The 40% threshold would be 40 employees, which is less than 50. In this case, the plan must cover at least 40 employees. A common mistake candidates make is automatically applying the 40% rule without comparing it to the 50-employee threshold. Another frequent error is failing to recognize excluded employees when calculating the total workforce. Remember, certain employees can be excluded from this calculation, such as employees under age 21 and those with less than 1 year of service. Here's a trickier scenario that often appears on the exam. A company has 150 employees, but 30 are part-time and can be excluded from the calculation. The actual employee base for the 50/40 test becomes 120 employees. Now 40% of 120 is 48 employees, which is less than 50. Therefore, the plan must cover at least 48 employees. The testing method also matters for the exam. The 50/40 test can be applied on any day of the year, but it must satisfy the requirements on that specific day. This is known as the daily testing method. Some questions might try to confuse you by presenting employee counts from different dates. Stay focused on the specific testing date mentioned in the question. Understanding the rationale behind this rule helps with retention. The 50/40 test exists to prevent employers from creating pension plans that primarily benefit highly compensated employees while excluding lower-paid workers. It's part of the broader non-discrimination requirements in qualified retirement plans. When you encounter 50/40 test questions on the exam, first identify the total eligible employee count. Then calculate both thresholds, 40% of the total and 50 flat. Compare these numbers and select the lesser amount. That's your minimum coverage requirement. Pay attention to any excluded employees mentioned in the question, as this can significantly impact your calculations. A final tip for exam success: watch for questions that combine the 50/40 test with other qualification requirements. The exam might test your knowledge of how this rule interacts with vesting schedules, participation requirements, or non-discrimination testing. Always read the entire question carefully before jumping into calculations. Remember, the 50/40 test is just one piece of the retirement planning puzzle, but it's a crucial one that demonstrates your understanding of qualified plan requirements. Master this concept, and you'll be one step closer to CFP exam success.